TCF family, join me in congratulating Kirsten for being June's Member of the Month. Kirsten, congrats.
Thanks.
Yeah. So basically, just going to get to know you a little bit better, all that fun stuff. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do, age, what time do you come, all that fun stuff.
So I am 33, I think. I always have a hard time remembering how old I am.
Mm-hmm.
33. Right now I bounce around class times. So sometimes I'm at 9:30, sometimes I'm at noon. More recently, it's been 4:30 in the afternoon, just due to work schedule.
Yeah.
So I work at Lenovo, which is a major technology company. We do laptops, tablets, but I work in the infrastructure solution group, which is more of the data hardware. So big servers, networking, telecom, and I work for the executive vice president. So C-level execs are super fun to deal with.
Yeah, I bet.
I love it. But I'm super, super busy. It's a 24/7 job, given that our main headquarters is in Beijing, and then our second main headquarters is here in Morrisville. So, but yeah, I mean, that's really it. I'm a mom. I have 3 beautiful little girls. So I'm busy between like working full time, momming full time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and then it's like trying to balance both of those and also a life outside of all that as well, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I feel like anytime I walk in the gym, I'm just like, I don't ever have my life together. Like, there's bags, there's laptops, there's phones, so, but I get here, and that's all that really matters. So I just kind of manage it for what I can for that 1 hour every day.
Exactly. So, yeah. As long as you get here, get in the door, that's the main thing. You get here, and we'll take care of the rest, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome. And then, I mean, it just shows that, like, I mean, you make this a priority because your schedule is crazy. You're between, again, like, full-time mom and also full-time just working, right?
Yeah.
And then you're able to still make it in here for an hour a day.
Yeah. Well, I think if I didn't prioritize this, that I wouldn't be a good colleague. I wouldn't be a good mom. I wouldn't be a good wife. So I think that taking care of myself is just better overall for everyone involved and for me too, right? So, because if not, then I feel like I get burnt out or just easily more fatigued or irritable. So overall, it's just better for me to prioritize at least an hour to an hour and a half every day of something that I enjoy.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, and how do you balance that? How do you find the time for it? How do you make the time for it?
So right now I'm kind of in what we call a hybrid work role, to where I split my time between the office and working at home. When I'm in the office, I go in as early as I can during the day. So I'll try and start my work day at 7 a.m. Or even earlier than that, and try to be out of there by 3 so that I can get here by 4:30. When I'm working from home, I just look and see what my calendar looks like for the day. So if I have a good opening during lunch, or even like earlier in the morning, I'll try and get in during that time.
Yeah.
But I think that one of the best things I ever did when I started working full time was just laying my boundaries out before getting really like knee deep in work. And so, like the current gentleman I work for right now, you know, I just let him know that, hey, like, this is really important to me. This hour out of my day will be better overall for me, for you, and just know that me taking an hour out of my day is not going to affect my overall workload. And actually, like, you find that a lot of people are supportive of that. So I always get really good feedback. They're like, oh, I think that's awesome that you take an hour and a half out of your day to work out and take care of yourself. Like, everybody should do that.
Right. And I mean, it's like what you said, almost like, I mean, everyone needs whatever that is. I mean, most people probably is working out or something like that, or maybe it's even like meditation or just a way to get away or whatever. But it's like that, maybe that hour that you take out of work makes you more efficient the other time that you're actually working, whatever, right? And then the whole concept of you got to fill your cup up before you can fill up someone else's.
Right.
Yeah, because especially when you're giving all the time, right? You're giving at work, you're giving at home and stuff. You need to make sure that you're receiving a little bit, at least when you're in some form of your life.
Yep,
So
I agree.
that's awesome. And so, like, so kind of talking about like work and working out and stuff. How has it been since coming back from having Aslan? And also, how has it been kind of just like getting back in the swing of things?
Yeah. So I think that I'm probably super crazy because I came back from having a baby way earlier than I probably should have. But I also felt like training throughout my entire pregnancy really helped me tremendously in being able to come back as early as I did. And I felt like I knew my body well enough. I knew how I felt to come back and just start that training. I definitely would say that I didn't come back in like super crazy hot. I did a lot of the recovery stuff in terms of like pelvic floor exercises and just like reworking things like grip and overall strength. And but I'm glad that I was able to come back when I did and just start incorporating things, because I think that it just has made me a lot stronger. I think I'm stronger now than I was pre-pregnancy, which is crazy. Because like the numbers I'm seeing now, or even just like the cardio and stuff that we do now, I wasn't even seeing beforehand. Beforehand.
Yeah.
So training throughout pregnancy definitely helped. Coming back when I did, I think for me anyway, definitely helped. And I think that for me personally, I just feel like I've grown so much over the last year in CrossFit. And it's kind of crazy when I look back at pictures or videos, or just to see like where I was a year ago to like where I am right now.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then for people that don't know, how old's Aslan right now?
Aslan is 7 months.
Yeah. So you came back, what, like 2 months after she was born?
So Aslan was 4 weeks when I came back in the gym.
Okay.
And I brought her with me. So
Yeah.
she was here. Yeah.
Yeah. Came in and just, like you said, kind of slowly get back into it. But like you said, kind of training up through pregnancy and stuff probably made it a whole lot easier to bounce back and get back into the swing of things.
I mean, the day before Aslan was born, I was in here doing heavy dumbbell snatches.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, that's not everybody's journey, right? Like,
right.
I had worked out with my other 2 pregnancies and felt great, literally up until the day the other girls were born. And so, but I would highly recommend just remaining active at whatever stage of life you may be in. So whether that's pregnancy or coming back from an injury, or because I think that doing something is absolutely better than doing nothing.
100%. Yeah. I mean, I obviously I don't know from experience, or hopefully I never experienced that myself personally. But definitely like the stuff I've read and stuff like that, it's all about like trying to just continue doing whatever you were doing. Like if you weren't active beforehand, don't go in and do something crazy. Yeah. But definitely if you were active, just continue doing it or whatever.
Yep.
But that's awesome. And then so I know the coaches want to know like how important it is for you to be a role model for your girls, because again you have 3 girls and stuff like that, and how has it I guess why is that important to you, and how is it kind of, or how are you trying to be that role model?
Yeah. So I think that I'm more comfortable now talking about this than I probably was even like as recently as 5 years ago. But I struggled for a really long time with just overall body image. I mean, when Brandon and I got married, I was like a really unhealthy weight. I was like 118 pounds.
Oh God.
And I overtrained and underate. Because at that time I thought that being skinny was what made me beautiful, right? And so, but I wasn't taking care of my body. And at that time I didn't realize it, but now when I look back at it and I think about like what I was doing to myself, how terrible it was. And I think that women and even girls still struggle with that now. But I never wanted to put that mindset, or even create a mindset like that for my daughters. And so, right after we had Ellery is when I really switched gears, and just was like, I want to be the best version of myself that I possibly can be, and also I want my girls to be able to see that. And so I worked with personal trainers. It was a benefit through Lenovo, was to meet with a personal trainer and come up with strength training plans, or whatever your goal is at that time. But also talked a lot about nutrition, and I finally put 2 and 2 together, that in order to see the strength and the muscle gain and all the things that I wanted in a physique, I had to basically double up the nutrition, because that was what was going to be, or what was going to make me strong.
Right.
And so we have done a lot with creating better like eating habits at home. We bring our girls in here every single day.
Yeah.
Ellery comes to CrossFit Kids. But we just wanted we want our girls to see that exercising and maintaining a healthy lifestyle with food and having a healthy relationship with food too, right? Like, we don't want there to ever be things that are like off boundaries, but just understanding that like, hey, like it's okay to have a treat, but it's not something we should be eating like all the time, or like, let's make sure to have a good dinner before we have a treat or whatever,
Yeah.
So, and I would say, like, we've worked really hard at that even in the last 2 years. But our girls love it here. And if you think your kids don't watch you when you're here, you're wrong. Because we've noticed that when we're at home, they'll pick up a toy and be like, oh, look, Mom, like, I just deadlifted that. Or, oh, look, like, I'm doing a kettlebell swing. And so they really do watch every single thing that we do.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like Marlo and Ellery are great examples, because like Marlo will hop on the rower and she'll start rowing or whatever, right?
Yeah.
She'll come over here, grab like a kettlebell, and then try and deadlift it or whatever. I think she tried to deadlift one of the 55s one day, and I'm like, I don't think that's right.
Yeah, that's like twice her body weight.
Yeah, that's not safe right now. And then like, what was it? One day she grabbed like the 8-pound slam ball. She picked it up, put it on a box, and put it back down, and all that stuff. So it's crazy, like just them coming in here, seeing you do it. And then they try and do stuff to emulate it and stuff.
Yeah, which I think for me as a parent, like, it's always a good feeling, because I think sometimes you always wonder if you're doing the right things. But those moments are the reaffirmation, like, we are. Like, they're watching, they're seeing, so that tells us that we are doing something right.
Yeah,
so.
Well, hopefully it's like good habits that they're picking up and
yeah,
stuff,
no,
right?
it's definitely good habits. But.
Right. And then so like kind of talking about like being an inspiration, role model and stuff. I know like what are your you just did your first CrossFit competition, right? And how'd that go?
I thought it was great. I don't know. I mean, I didn't have any expectations going into that.
Because it was you and Joy, right?
Yeah, Joy. Yeah. She was a great partner. But we signed, honestly, I set a goal right after I had Aslan that I wanted to do a CrossFit competition, whether it was like 7 months postpartum, 10 months postpartum, it didn't matter to me. I just knew that it was a goal. I wanted to do it and just see how it went. And so this one was like one of the first ones that popped up, and I was like, all right, like, I'm going to do this. But went in with no expectations, wasn't expecting to place, or it was really just like more of a learning experience, because I had never done one, never experienced one. And we ended up placing third. It was kind of great.
Yeah, which is awesome, especially for y'all's first one, because that was Joy's first one too as well, right?
Yeah, it was. And then too, just having the surprise thrown in of like a 2-person worm, which was a piece of equipment we had never used before. Yeah. So, but I thought overall we did really, really well. So it was exciting. I think the adrenaline kicked in, and like I felt like we crushed it. Yeah. So.
No, y'all did awesome. I mean, especially with the 2-person worm, that was really fun to watch. Really fun to watch everyone try and tackle that, because I don't think anyone's really played around with that before.
What made us feel better about ourselves was that worm was the same weight for everybody. Yeah. So whether they were like scaled, intermediate, RX, everybody had the same weight. So we were like, we're squatting 130 pounds just like these RX athletes are. But it was great. Overall, it was really, really fun.
Yeah, so. And then do you have like another one in sights in the future? Like, what are your other goals that you're shooting for?
Yeah, I definitely want to do another one. But I'm naturally competitive, even with myself. So like, if you see me in here trying to like hit a PR or whatever, or even just like, I've been playing around with gymnastics, because that's really like my next goal, is to be able to do like a butterfly pull up, or really string together my toes to bar a lot better. So I'm ready. I hope Joy's ready, because she's gonna be my partner. But
she doesn't know it yet. But
she doesn't know it yet. But it's gonna happen. But yeah, I would love to do another one. So
yeah, that'd be awesome. And then maybe do one in the fall or something like that, or maybe do one next year or something along those lines. And once you kind of get those goals of the butterfly pull up and all those gymnastic stuff.
Yep.
There we go. Cool. And then what about, like, I know one of the questions that you wanted, or that we kind of talked about or whatever, was talk about the best piece of advice that you've ever been given. I know you kind of mentioned that a little bit with the boundaries, but do you have kind of like any other advice that was kind of given to you or whatever that you want to share with the world?
So I think there's really like two.
Okay.
One of the best pieces of advice, or even just like phrase that has stuck with me professionally, was that lions don't need to roar. And so if you know you're a strong person and you know that you have the skill set or just the capabilities to do something, like just do it and it will show for itself. You don't need to walk in the room and command the presence. And that's always stuck with me, right? So like I think about that at work. I think about that here at the gym. Like and yeah, like I think the statement speaks for itself, right? Like just because you can do it doesn't mean that you need to make it known all the time, right?
Right.
So it will be noticed. People will notice. But then like CrossFit related, Bob Berta told me this.
Yeah.
That related to your fitness goals and like specifically CrossFit, that it is a marathon and not a sprint. So I think about that when I'm trying something new, or if I don't always necessarily hit that PR.
Yeah.
Like I may not get it today, but I could get it 6 months from now, and that's still okay. Because as long as I'm still progressing or I'm learning better form, or that's really all that matters at that given like day or time.
Right.
And I think that that's true, because I think that when I first started here, I was in such a hurry because I saw everybody else doing it. I wanted to be the same. Like I wanted to be lifting heavier weight. I wanted to be able to do better on the assault bike or on the rig.
Yeah.
But CrossFit has taken so much time. And if I hadn't focused on form and stretching and all of the other things combined, other than just coming in and doing the movement, then I wouldn't be where I am today. So like that's been 2 years in the making. So Bob is very wise.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So.
He's got a lot of knowledge. I mean, he's been doing CrossFit now for what? Probably like 12, 13 years or something like that. So he hopefully has by now learned a couple of things.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, it's kind of like, I guess the two are very similar, right? So like your skills and then the things that you built up and then like your capabilities and stuff have kind of grown over the 2 years, and then that shows, right? I mean, you go out there and you show off your hard work, well, not show off, but you perform at your best, and then your hard work will show itself off, right? You progressing right now on your butterfly pull-ups. Down the road, right, maybe next year or whatever it is, you'll do a workout and then you're able to do them, and then a new person's gonna be like, holy crap, Kirsten, how are you able to do that, right? And then you're their inspiration to try for those or whatever it is, right? Or maybe it's like you look back at last year. So we have like at the time of this recording, there's like Murph coming up.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe you look back at last year's Murph and you're like, okay, I did it this time. This year's Murph, because you worked on your pull-ups, right? You were really challenging yourself with those. You get faster time on Murph.
Yeah.
Right. And then like your hard work just shows off or pays off, and then it'll show for itself.
Yeah, but even like a workout with Murph, right? Like 2 years ago, I didn't even do Murph because I was too intimidated by it. Last year I did Murph and I was pregnant. Now like we scaled it.
Hopefully you're gonna beat last year's Murph, right?
Right. Yeah. Right. But, like I was pregnant, right? And we scaled it, but like it was still tough, and I still did it, right? But now like this year will be different because I'm not pregnant. Woohoo!
Knock on wood.
And two, like I'm not intimidated by it anymore either. So, and again, like that's been 2 years in the making. So it's just, yeah. And I never thought I would even do Murph because I was like, gosh, it's a lot of pull-ups, it's a lot of push-ups, it's a lot of running. But when you work on those movements every day and you get into the habit of doing them, then you're like, it's not terrible anymore.
It's just a normal
workout.
Not
anything to be intimidated by, right?
Yeah.
So
it's just a normal workout. It's nothing crazy, right?
Yeah.
Especially if people like certain things people put a whole lot of weight on for whatever reason, right? And then it's like whenever there's a workout that we do every year or it's a benchmark or whatever, they put a whole lot of weight on it when really every single day it's just a normal workout. You go in there, do your best, give your best effort, you try harder and harder each and every day. That's all you can ask for.
Yeah. Well, and two, I think knowing that scaling is okay too, right?
Oh yeah.
Like just because you scale a workout doesn't mean that you didn't complete it. Because really, like, it's just important to just do it.
Right.
And I've had to teach myself that too, that like it's okay to scale back, but do what's right for you and right for your body. So And if you don't have push-ups this year, like just work on it and then try again next year.
And scaling almost makes it harder sometimes.
It does.
Right?
Sometimes I think scaled is like, I'm like, gosh, ring rows are way worse than like
so, like,
pull-ups or push-ups.
For me personally, like when I see a heavyweight workout, I'm like excited because I know it's going to be an easier workout because there's something there that's going to slow me down. When I see a lighter weight workout, I'm scared because I know there's no reason for me to slow down. Right. Or let's say, for example, if there's a really high skill movement and I'm going to slow down on that. So I know, okay, cool, I have a break. But there's all low skill movements and there's like, it's like just biking and rowing, right? I get scared because there's like nothing to stop me.
Right.
It's just mentally, right? So, I mean, almost the scaled workouts can be harder at times.
Yeah.
Just because it's like, hey, okay, if you're doing push-ups to a box or whatever, you should be able to keep moving or do whatever the sets, reps, whatever it is recommended. And then it's harder because if you did push-ups on your toes, you'd probably be stopping a whole lot more.
Yeah.
And then you give yourself those breaks that aren't necessary.
Look, there are some workouts I scale and I still die.
Yeah. Oh, so. Like again, scaling is almost worse sometimes. But anyways, so prior to joining the TCF family, what was your biggest challenge? And it's like what we talked about before was like you kind of had some boredom with workouts.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah, I was definitely bored. So I like variance. Mm-hmm. And so, but I got to a point in my fitness routine where I was basically just walking into the Y, kind of writing my own workout, and then like basically like rotating through that every 6 weeks. So like if I wanted to focus on like legs, I would do like some kind of leg cycle for 6 weeks and then change it. But working out by myself was, I mean, it wasn't terrible, but I didn't enjoy it. Mm. And then like prior to that, I did burn boot camp for a couple of years. And like, while that was great in its own way, it was high intensity. And so you basically burn off everything that you would have gained muscle mass wise because it's a ton of cardio. Mm. So I actually had no interest in joining CrossFit. For years, I was like, gosh, like it's terrible for your body. People hurt themselves all the time. Mm-hmm. And Brandon actually was the one who kind of encouraged me because he had prior CrossFit experience. And he's like, I think you would actually really love it. You should just give it a chance. Like, just try it out. If you hate it, then that's fine. Like, but if you love it, then you'll never regret it. And I tried it out literally before COVID. So the timing was terrible. But I was like instantly hooked after a week. So... And yeah, like I haven't regretted it at all. And what I love about it is that it's different every single day. So, but I think it also pushes me out of my comfort zone because there are a lot of things that we do in here that I typically would have never done in a normal or standard workout. Mm. So, but yeah, I mean, I've always been active, but out of everything that I've ever done, whether it's, you know, organized sports or training or working with personal trainers, this has been by far the best thing that I've ever done. Yeah.
Yeah. And then what other things have kind of changed or positive impacts that have changed since joining the TCF family? I know, like, I mean, being able to do it with Brandon.
Yeah.
Right?
Like I love being able to work out with Brandon. It's something that we can do together. Mm-hmm. You know, nutrition wise, like I think that my nutrition has gotten a way better. And also learning about the importance of it. I love that we can bring our girls with us and they get to experience that and hopefully, you know, one day want to do something similar. I would love for it to be CrossFit or gymnastics or
something active.
Just something active. But then too, just like the positive impacts that it's had on Brandon, I think has really been a game changer for our family from his weight loss journey and taking better care of himself so that my girls have their dad longer than, well, basically like extending his life longer because he is active and just being able to witness his entire weight loss journey has been an inspiration for me. But then too, just seeing how passionate he is about it and then him being now like a coach has been incredible. Like if you had asked me 2 years ago, what do you think Brandon will be doing? I would have never in a million years been like, oh yeah, like my husband coaches CrossFit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, like this gym did that. This community did that, right? So yeah, I think for us, it's just been a total game changer.
Yeah, a whole lifestyle change.
A whole lifestyle change, yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then what would you say to someone that's kind of like on the fence about joining?
It's I would say it's not as intimidating as you think it is, and that CrossFit really is for everyone, no matter what skill level, fitness level, because you could really do anything and everything with it. It's just overall, it's just been great. Like, I think that give it a chance. That's the other thing. Give it a chance, right? Like, don't come for 2 or 3 weeks and then get, like, discouraged. I would say give it at least 2 or 3 months.
Yep.
Because with anything, it just takes time, and you won't see results in a week or 2 weeks, but you will see them over 2 or 3 months' time.
Right.
So stick with it. Don't get discouraged. Ask questions. Especially if it's something you're not familiar with, whether it's barbell or gymnastics, or and just know that you're not the first person who's had this same experience, right? So I knew that I asked questions. I struggled for a little bit trying to learn the movements, but sticking with it and asking questions, and also too just the support of the people you come to class with is really like what makes CrossFit. Yep.
So. Everyone's either gone through or is going through the same things that you're going through.
Yeah.
Yep. Everyone's started where you're at, whether it's years ago or right now, and everyone's had the same questions. That goes back to the whole concept of there's no such thing as a dumb question, because it's like everyone has thought the same thing. If you're thinking it and someone else is thinking it,
right.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
And give it a shot, and actually give it a good college try, right?
Yep.
But Kirsten, again, thank you for coming out here and doing the interview and all that. Congrats again for being June's Member of the Month.
Yeah.
And
thank you so much.